In this 25th anniversary year of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation continues to honor America's heroes. Heroes like Fire Lieutenant Michael Wells, who was inspired by 9/11 to serve his community. After 14 dedicated years of service, he lost his battle with occupational cancer, leaving behind his wife, Katie, and their 3 children. Tunnel to Towers honored Lieutenant Wells by paying off the family's mortgage in recognition of his sacrifices. Donate $11 monthly and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.
Welcome to the 5 o'clock show. It's time for Common Sense. Now, it's Katz and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby, standing for truth, justice, and the American way, bringing common sense to the world. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby.
California, here I come, right back where I started from. Where Bowers
and we are talking California here on Katz and Cosby, and that is because tonight is a big one, really determining the fate of California. The big primaries taking place. You got California for the governor and the mayor, and of course you got New Jersey. We're going to be talking with Tiffany Burris, wife of NFL superstar Plaxico Burris, later on about that. Also, New Mexico, Iowa, South Dakota, and Montana. There are 6 big states. And Judge Weinberg, California, really, everything is on the line there.
You're really talking about the future of California. Will California survive as a major state, or will you continue to keep losing population, economic development? People are overtaxed there, overregulated. Quality of life is diminished. The job opportunities are diminished. They're throwing out the best, most productive people because of their overtaxation. Public safety is terrible. Homelessness is a disaster. You know, there's 75,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. 75,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. And you have a mayor's race there. And you have the failed mayor, Bass, who's having a great time in Ghana or one of the African countries.
Yeah, during the fire.
During the fire.
And by the way, did you see also? Did you see the homeless numbers too? A huge percentage, it's like 55 to 60% of the homeless in California are from out of state.
But I got a question, Judge. Are you talking about New York with all those things you were just stating? Because it sounds just like the problems we have here.
Unfortunately, we may have coming attractions. California may become attractions for what's going to happen in New York. It's a disaster.
And we have in studio today, we have Judge Richard Weinberg. We also have former Brooklyn GOP chair and attorney extraordinaire Craig Eaton, and also John's going to be probably joining us. He's traveling, but he's going to be joining us. We got an action-packed show, guys, because we have Alan Dershowitz coming up. We have U.S. Department of Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who's in New York. And we also have John Fahey, former acting ICE director, is going to talk about everything going on in Newark. It was another day like a war zone out there. Congressman Mike Herodopoulos of Florida talking about the Blue Origin exploding. We also have Tiffany Burris, as I mentioned, and we have the Consul General from Israel to New York, the great Ophir Akunis, is going to be joining us to talk about anti-Semitism, to talk about the Israel Day Parade, everything going on with Iran. So we got an action-packed show. You know, one of the big stories, you guys, is Graham Plattner. And this is the guy who's running for Maine for the U.S. Senate candidate from, the Democrat there. The latest is, not only does he have the Nazi tattoo, he's got, of course, he's on this app, this dating app, Kick, which is mostly young women, so you can draw your inference. He's been on there. John and I were talking earlier, 3,000 days. This guy Plattner's been on it.
So it wasn't a random act?
No, not a random act, Judge.
How many years, by the way, 3,000 times? How many months is that? How many years is that?
Well, it's a little less than 3 years, but 10 years, but it's a good significant part of your life. This wasn't a one-night fluke, right, to your point. And then he's sexting all these women. And then he's also has the Nazi tattoo. He's trash veterans. He's trash gays. And he is still in the race, which is startling. So today he was going up to Capitol Hill to sort of do a mea culpa, if you will, to talk with members of Congress and also, of course, the senators. And what happens? I just saw Bernie Sanders come out, you guys, and Bernie Sanders said, well, he made a few little mistakes, but that's between him and his wife. Craig, can you imagine? What would your wife say if she found out you were sexting young girls?
I think that she'd probably divorce me. I hope she's listening, Susan, because I will never do that.
Never do it. For the record, Judge?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good.
Absolutely not. Wouldn't even think about it.
And then you got Schumer in the middle of this also, guys. You got Senator Chuck Schumer, who came out and he said, I endorsed him. He didn't want to. Remember, he originally wanted Janet Mills, the governor, who's still in the race there. And he's got a primary. That's next Tuesday. That's Graham Plattner. But he said, I still stand by Graham Plattner. It's like, what is it going to take? How low is the bar?
The bar is very simple. It's all about power. Schumer wants to be majority leader again. He wants to control the Senate. He wants to win at any cost, and he'll do anything to win at any cost. So there's no moral compass on the part of these Democrats who are supporting this person who's really a scourge on humanity.
Well, and I can't think of anybody lower. I mean, all the comments and the fact he is still out there, and the fact that the second comment out of Schumer's mouth was, I still endorse him. We're going to win in November. We have to beat Susan Collins. So that's all that matters.
And let's talk about Susan Collins, one of the best United States senators, common sense, moderate, works with both sides of the aisle, a lovely human being, and a great accomplished senator.
Craig Eaton.
It's just crazy. I mean, he should be distancing himself, not doubling down on the endorsement. But, Schumer is just grasping at his own straws to try and keep his power. And hopefully he thinks he's going to be the leader again, which I doubt, because I think we are gaining ground in the Republican Party around the country. And with that point, I mean, the primaries are today. Make sure you get out to vote. Vote common sense. Vote for the right common sense candidate tonight.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's go to Professor Alan Dershowitz, who is joining us now. And Professor Dershowitz, what do you make of the fact that Graham Plattner is getting embraced on Capitol Hill? I mean, we just heard from Senator Chuck Schumer. He's the highest ranking Jewish member of Congress. And he came out and said, I endorsed him and we have to win in November. I mean, they're willing to take a Nazi tattoo loving guy who's been sexting behind his wife's back. They're willing to take this guy just to win.
Well, can you imagine what would happen if they discovered a tattoo on him which had a Ku Klux Klan symbol or a noose around their neck? Because that's what the totem head is. It's the equivalent of a Ku Klux Klan noose, except the difference is under the symbol that he's wearing, 6 million Jews were murdered. That's why I left the Democratic Party. I can't be associated with the Liz Warrens of the world, with the Murphys of the world. Murphy is one of the worst senators ever from Connecticut, Joe Lieberman's state. And you get Murphy and you get Warren and you get all these other people who are prepared to support a Nazi. I have an article I just wrote today saying anti-Semitism has become a good career move. That today, if you're an anti-Semite, you're likely to get more hits, more votes than if you aren't. And the same thing is not true, thankfully, of being anti-black and anti-woman, anti-gay, etc. But being anti-Jewish today is a way of making more money, getting more business, getting more votes. And the Democratic Party is at fault for that. And that's why I am not only opposed to the Democratic Party, I will fight like hell in November to see the Republicans maintain control of the House and the Senate, because I don't want Plattner to be on some, chairmanship of some committee along with Liz Warren, who I was a colleague of for years, and Chris Murphy, who's a horrible, horrible person. So, I'm fighting like hell to keep the Republicans in control, not because I love everything the Republicans do about everything. I'm a Republican with an asterisk. My asterisk represents my doubts about some of the policies, but on balance, the Republicans are so much better for this country, for the world, for Jews, for New Yorkers, for anybody than the Democrats are.
Craig Eaton.
Professor, now that you're talking about anti-Jewish or anti-Israel, I mean, it's an absolute disgrace that the mayor did not attend the Israeli Day Parade. It's first mayor in decades. And you know what? When he ran, his platform was that I will be everyone's mayor. But I guess he's changing that now, and he's everyone's mayor except for Jewish people.
Yeah, and look, he endorsed this idiot woman who's running for a Democratic nomination, and she has, said that Israel's worse than Hamas, and you name it, every possible thing she could say. And Mamdani has endorsed her over the incumbent Democrat. which shows you what the Democratic Socialists of America are trying to do. They're trying to take over the Democratic Party, and they're succeeding. That's the point. They're succeeding. Brad Latner, who's, a Jewish anti-Semite, is going to win. He's going to beat Goldman, who's, a decent centrist guy who did a great job in Congress. But Latner is going to say, well, I don't like Israel. And if you don't like Israel, vote for me. So today, hating Israel, hating Jews is a way of winning Democratic primaries. That's what's wrong with the Democratic Party.
I got to get to Professor Dershowitz, what's going on in New Jersey at the ICE detention facility. Yeah. I couldn't believe this. The governor of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, just came out a little bit ago and said the protests are peaceful. I mean, what is she looking at? It looks like a war zone. And now there are some of these groups that are out there trying to file suit against DHS, saying it's inhumane conditions.
Yeah, and, she's also blaming it on outside agitators. But when other people said outside agitators, they all said, oh, my God, you're making up excuses. But she's now saying they're not New Jersey people, they're outside agitators. If they were outside agitators, why would she then say they're peaceful? If they were peaceful, she should claim credit for them. But, she, like so many other Democratic politicians, are completely and totally hypocritical. And yet the voters vote for them. And, if Plattner wins, there will be not a single Republican in all of New England in either the House or the Senate, and they're quickly disappearing in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge Weinberg.
And look at what happened, Alan, in New Jersey. You had ICE agents physically assaulted. You had them bit with a human bite. You had somebody making death threats against an ICE agent and his family members.
And his family, yeah.
I mean, this is so horrible. Where's the moral conscience of these Democrats? And they're going there and they're saying ICE is the problem, detention centers are a problem. Detention centers are a problem only because they won't cooperate with ICE in picking them up from the local jails. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. The Democrats have decided that there's only one thing that will save the country, and that is for them to take over the Senate and the House. I think that's the worst thing that could happen to America, to world peace. It's, I think, very important for Democrats to switch over. You remember, we haven't left the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party kicked us out and left us the way they kicked out Ronald Reagan and regretted it forever because he was one of the greatest political leaders of all time. He could have been a Democrat, but they didn't want him. So he became a Republican. And that's happening now. More and more of my friends, Jewish and non-Jewish, are saying, we cannot be Democrats. I finally persuaded my wife. My wife stuck with the Democratic Party. She told me today she's no longer a Democrat. She's an independent. She won't become a Republican, but she's an independent. So that's a good step forward as far as I'm concerned.
Well, bravo for common sense. That's the most important thing. Professor Dershowitz, we love you. You're always fighting the good fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I fight it with you alongside me, and that makes me strong. Thank you.
We are with you for sure, 100%. Thank you, Professor. And you guys, let's go to some breaking news.
Breaking news, WABC.
Well, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, was in New York today, and she is just back from a big trip there. Joining us now is the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Madam Secretary, it's so great to have you here. And by the way, you and I share a love affair. We both loved Coach Lou Holtz, who is a dear friend of mine as well.
Oh, Rita, boy, the world lost a good one, didn't it, a couple months ago? But nobody better than Lou Holtz. That's amazing.
Yeah, he was such a great soul, and I remember him even mentioning you too. So it's really beautiful to have you here. Tell us about your big trip to New York.
Well, listen, it's funny. I've been in this role now about a year, a little less than a year and a half. It has been an extraordinary opportunity to fight for what's great about this country, right? Our farmers, our ranchers, our food producers, our rural Americans. I mean, everything that our country was built on. But I'd been to New York City in the role, but I had yet to visit any farms in New York. So Flew in yesterday into upstate New York, into Syracuse, visited some incredible dairy farmers, fifth and sixth generation. Their great-great-great-granddads had purchased the land, and they'd been raising cows, dairy cows on that land since the 1890s. And we had the most wonderful day. That's got to be one of the prettiest parts of the country up there in upstate New York. It was glorious.
It is a really beautiful part. You know, I want to hear your thoughts because you've always been so eloquent when you have been, especially in the cabinet meetings. And what I love about President Trump's cabinet meetings, they're out there. He goes through each one, and you are such. I know you have such great connections, obviously, with the farming community, with your own background. Talk about what farmers are going through right now. And I know that I have a lot of friends who are farmers, and they're worried, obviously, about fuel, fertilizer, just with the economy. How are they getting by?
Yeah, no, it's thank you. And by the way, thank you for having me. Thank you for those lovely words. I am inspired every day by the president. I'm inspired by my fellow cabinet members who, too, have put agriculture at the top of their list. It's just such a blessing to get to work with all these amazing people. But yeah, there's no doubt. Listen, the farm economy is really facing some headwinds, and this has been true now for a number of years. But in our interim, when we left the first term, and you know, things were looking pretty good. The ag trade deficit, surplus was at about $8 billion, meaning we were shipping a lot of great agriculture products out into the world. In the 4 years we were gone, Rita, that trade surplus turned into a $50 billion agricultural trade deficit, which meant we lost all of our markets in soybeans, sorghum, cotton, beef, et cetera. It's heartbreaking to see. And also in those 4 years, the cost of inputs for our farmers, I mean, we know inflation went up over 20% for everyone in America in those 4 years, but for farmers, the cost of inputs went up on average between 30 and 40%. Labor, seed, fertilizer, fuel, et cetera. So we inherited a little bit of a mess. In the last year and a half, we've been able to solve for a lot of it. We've got 24 new trade deals. We've cut that trade deficit by almost half in 1 year. So instead of having a $50 billion trade deficit, we're down to about $23 billion in agricultural products. So we're going to be able to hopefully get that down to zero and go back into surplus in the next year or two. The cost of inputs has come down. Labor's down 40%. Interest rates are coming down. Now, with the Strait of Hormuz closing, with the Iranian conflict, what was a downward trajectory for fuel and fertilizer has seen a little bit of a blip to come back up, as the president has said. We expected that, but as soon as the conflict is done, as soon as the president gets done what he believes and what he's doing right for the American people, we'll see those come back down as well. But we are doing everything we can to make sure the farm economy is strong, striking those new trade deals, making farmers, giving them the markets. So instead of farming for a government check, farming for markets and to sell their incredible goods, and we're getting there. The morale in our farm community, surprisingly, even by metrics, even by those who go and poll it, is actually up, even with all of these headwinds. And I believe that's because they know this president is fighting for them and going to do everything he can to get to a golden age for rural America.
And you can tell he loves the farmers, too. Like, one of my favorite scenes, Secretary Rollins, was seeing the tractor there at the White House. He had the big, huge tractor, and it was like he was like, old home, I got to go see the tractor. You could tell he fell in love with it. We also have with us here Judge Richard Weinberg, Madam Secretary.
Madam Secretary, good to have you on the show. I'll tell you what concerns me about the issue of farming in America. Why are we allowing foreign countries to buy up our farmland, particularly China? To me, that's a suicidal effort, and we should stop that.
Agreed.
What are your thoughts?
Agreed. Well, in 1983, China owned about 2,000 acres of American farmland. Today, it is almost 300,000 acres of American farmland. It is absolutely a national security effort, and it has happened. America has been asleep. You know, the president's talked a long time since he came down that golden escalator. In your backyard in New York 10 years ago, he talked about how our manufacturing's been hollowed out, our pharmaceutical, et cetera, has been hollowed out. But right alongside that, and we're just beginning to fully realize it, our agriculture has been hollowed out. In just a little over a decade, what used to be us producing all of our own fertilizer, we now rely on China, Russia, and other countries. By the way, as far as the inputs go, back, Rita, to your point, we are now reshoring and onshoring fertilizer and seed, et cetera, again. So that's a really important point for the long term for the farmers and for our food supply. But at the same time, Judge, we've seen, again, the offshoring of fertilizing, of processing of our beef, of our seeds, et cetera. We've seen our food supply chain be bought up by China, by Brazil, by other countries. When I talk about that agricultural trade deficit that we inherited when we came back a year and a half ago, Brazil took over our soybean market, our cotton market, our sorghum market, our beef market. I mean, these are real existential issues. If we want to preserve freedom for and our sovereignty for the next 250 years, we have to reverse this trend. China buying farmland is only part of it, but it's a really big part of it.
And before we let you go, Secretary Brooke Rollins, just the Energizer Bunny that is President Trump. I see you like you're in the Oval Office with him. Then he's here. Then he's there. It really is incredible just how many things he has in the hopper between overseas. But he has such a connection. And this year is really celebrating it, true form with America 250, with Freedom 250.
I'm so proud of him, Rita. He is a really tough boss, right? There is no room for incompetence. There is no room for laziness. There is no room for pausing. We are full speed, all gas, no brakes all the time, 7 days a week, but we're literally fighting to save this country. And he's right. I mean, there is no rest for the weary here. We are expected to do everything we possibly can in the short 4 years, now 2.5 left, to save America. And I believe we're in a very similar situation as the 1776ers, as back in our founding fathers fighting against tyranny. I believe very similar to the 1860s with Abraham Lincoln fighting against a different kind of tyranny, obviously the darkness of slavery. And I believe we're there again in the 2020s, that we're fighting against the tyranny of woke, radical, leftist, socialist government. And y'all were I got to listen to Alan Dershowitz and you guys talk about what's happening in New York City before I came on. I mean, it is dark. It is very dark in very important places in this country, like New York City, like California. We have to keep fighting for the light, and that's what this is about. And this president leads the way for us. He is a tireless, fearless, courageous, bold leader that our country hasn't seen in a really long time.
Yeah, it is amazing what he has accomplished. Well, he's got a good team, especially the gal from Glen Rose, Texas. So, so it's great to have you here, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Secretary.
you very much.
Thank you so much. Great to have you here, the great Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins. Thanks so much. And everybody, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk to the former acting ICE director, John Fahey. We're going to talk about what's going on in Newark. Yeah, the governor actually said it's peaceful protests. What protests is she looking at, Governor? I don't see it. Go ahead. Let's go to a break.
Let Century Management Solutions get you to your next medical appointment. They specialize in non-emergency medical transportation, connecting patients to care, safety, reliability, and on time. Their advanced technology platform seamlessly coordinates patients, healthcare providers, insurers, and transportation partners all in one powerful network. With over 200 trusted transportation providers, they deliver scalable solutions backed by real-time tracking and complete transparency. Go to SENTRYMS.com.
This is what everyone's talking about.
Everything's on the table.
This is what champions come to take. This is what everyone came to see.
And the slam!
No do-overs. No second chances. No more Mr. Nice Guy. This is winner take all. And it's all happening now on the home of the NBA Finals. Don't miss it, June 3rd on ABC and the ESPN app.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC. Breaking news, WABC.
And the protests are continuing outside the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey. And they're biting officers. Finally, they got that guy. There was another one threatening officers and their families. And yet the governor of New Jersey, you can't make it up, said they're mostly peaceful protests. Actually, they're peaceful protests. She didn't even say mostly, like the Summer of Love.
It's ridiculous. You know, I forget that. I think it was a CNN reporter who's standing there.
Yeah, Ali Veshi
Right.
of MSNBC.
Yes, and he's doubled down as recently as last night. He was doubling down on that whole concept, and they show the picture of the place burning down, and he's saying it's mostly peaceful.
Yeah, and she says they're peaceful. Not even the mostly.
Listen,
You can't make it up,
but
Craig.
when is she going to stop? When someone gets killed or, God forbid, really seriously injured from these protests? I mean, it's crazy what she's doing here.
And you know what?
And she's the one who's incited it.
Yeah, she's
the one who started it.
She's the one who's incited it, and she's talking about all the gear. Like she said, "Oh yeah, they're coming out with the knee pads, the this, the that," and then you have these independent reporters showing it, and she's somehow saying that maybe that's a problem. Maybe she's created this climate.
You know, we need Jack Ciattarelli in the governor's mansion in New Jersey.
Boy,
we
think
need
about
Jack, because
what
this would not be
difference.
happening if Jack was there. He was amazing.
And by the way, Craig, we are going to be talking to Tiffany Burris later on this hour. Of course, the wife, she's an attorney and the wife of Plaxico Burris,
yes.
NFL star. She's running in one of the big primaries tonight.
And remember about these Democrats, particularly Sherrill in New Jersey and Spangenberger in Virginia. They run as centrist, common sense, moderate people. And what do? They govern as extremists.
Absolutely crazy stuff.
And you know what, Rita? It's 5:30 now. So if you live in New Jersey, if you live in the 9th Congressional District, make sure you go out. If you're a Republican, make sure you go out and vote for Tiffany Burris. She's in parts of Bergen, Hudson, and Passaic counties, and it's important.
And we're going to get to her in a little bit, too. And also, we have with us, also joining us right now, and we're going to talk further with him, but just joining us in studio now, we have the former consul from Israel to New York, Ophir Akunis. And we're thrilled to have you with us, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's been a while.
Yeah, thank you. We missed you, and we're going to have a lot of big topics with you, too, coming up. How are you doing, okay? We've been thinking of you guys.
We'll talk about the parade, the biggest parade ever.
Fantastic. And it was the biggest Israel Day parade.
Yes, that's right.
Tears in my eyes to see the huge crowd.
It's very impressive.
Well, people coming out and showing a lot of love for Israel.
the reason.
Yep, absolutely.
But wait a while, and then I will let you know the answer.
I think that's called a tease. Is that what that's called? All right.
You can find a word, yes.
All right, stick with us. And joining us right now, we have John Fahey, the former acting director of ICE. Director Fahey, let's get to it. What do you make of what's going on in Newark?
Well, first, I just want to address one of the things you said. I think is so on point. There's no such thing as a moderate Democrat anymore. So, anyone that ever believes it, you will be proven wrong after and have to bear the consequences. But what the real point here, I think the most important point is the governor of New Jersey really lit the match for these protests, quote unquote, on Memorial Day when she went there trying to enter this facility, although she has no right to go there to inspect it or anything else. And she has really set the stage for this. And now she's trying to act like she's sort of pushing back or supporting law enforcement or something like that. And it's so cynical because she could have prevented this at the beginning, but chose not to. And it would rather inflame the public, inflame the rioters. And you're right, there's no such thing. We never even heard the term peaceful protest until the Democrats started rioting so much in 2020. They coined the phrase because, my whole life I don't remember ever hearing that term because people assumed protests should be peaceful until the Democrats started, ramping things up in 2020. But yeah, things are really bad. I think one thing that's important that's going on is I think that we need to start arresting more people, and they did so. The FBI arrested that person, I think yesterday, but they need to do more of that because all of these people that assault and threaten federal agents or law enforcement agents at all need to be not just arrested, but prosecuted and really serve significant sentences.
How about also, but Jonathan, how about also who's funding these? I mean, why are they not going after the people? Because clearly they have like pre-produced signs. You know, we have the ambassador here, Ophir Akunis, and I think about like what was happening on college campuses and still happening with these Israel protests. They all seem to have the same sign. They have their little pup tents, and it seems to be the same thing that we're seeing also at Newark. And in fact, one of the guys arrested was from Portland. So, I mean, he's clearly, obviously not in town.
It's a traveling show is what it is.
Exactly. So why are they not going after the funders, to the judge's point?
I think that they absolutely should go after the funders, because not only are they funding, like, the, quote-unquote protests, but they know that they're funding violence because of the equipment they're giving them. Because if they were just giving them signs, okay, you can fund people and protest, that's fine. But they're giving them equipment, goggles, and all these things, knowing that they are funding confrontations with law enforcement, knowing that they're going to assault law enforcement, impede law enforcement. So there really is arguably a much bigger conspiracy where whoever's funding them, there's arguably criminal liability there, and also, if they're using these money or funds that they're raising for criminal activities, those funds could be seized. So I hope they are doing so. You always hear talk of people doing so, but it would be nice to see some, one of these really get run to the ground. And the more people you arrest among these protesters, the more likely they're going to want to cooperate, because, you've got basically two types of federal criminal defendants. You have those that cooperate and those that wish they did. So most of these people, if they're facing significant sentences, hopefully they'll cooperate about who's funding these, who's organizing these, because none of these are organic. And the fact that the media and the Democrats have to, continually pretend these are people outraged over something going on in the ICE facility, it's all fraudulent.
Yep.
No one cares about what was going on in the facility. There's no reason to think there's anything bad going on in the facility to begin with.
Yeah, and the DHS says they're getting 3 square meals a day. They're getting, they have a nutritionist 24/7, dental. The list goes on and on. It's remarkable to see the governor with a straight face saying it's peaceful protest. Jonathan Fahey, the former acting ICE director, thank you so much. Really great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always. Thank you so much. And you guys, coming up, we're going to be talking to Consul General Ophir Akunis from Israel to New York, and also Congressman Mike Herodopoulos and also Tiffany Burris. We got an action-packed show here, but first, today's headlines.
It's the top news of the day, sponsored by Goya. Here's Rita Cosby.
Well, as we said at the top, 6 states are holding primary elections today to set the matchups for November. Voters are going to the polls in Iowa, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, South Dakota, and California, where the race for governor and Los Angeles mayor are drawing national attention. Reality TV star Spencer Pratt has run a spirited campaign challenging the incumbent, Karen Bass. And of course, we're going to have all the results as they come in tonight. And also, President Trump is denying reports that negotiations between the U.S. and Iran have broken down. The president pushed back on claims with a post on Truth Social just a little bit ago, where he called the reports false and erroneous. His comments follow reporting from Iranian state media on Monday that Tehran would stop exchanging messages with the U.S. through intermediaries over accusations of a ceasefire violation. And we're going to have a lot more, you guys, right after the break. Stick with us here on Cats and Cosby.
You're commuting home with Cats and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Cats and Cosby. Well, there is another war powers vote taking place in the House. And also, the Democratic rhetoric is really quite extraordinary. As we talked about, Graham Plattner, this guy with the Nazi tattoo, he is on Capitol Hill today. He was meeting with senators, and Senator Schumer and a couple others came out and said, I'm still backing him. I mean, you can't make this up. Well, joining us now is Congressman Mike Herodopoulos from the great state of Florida. Congressman, your reaction to this, my goodness.
I mean, this guy has more baggage than an airport. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
That's a good line, by the way, Congressman.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, every day is something new. I mean, this is the best the Democrats have to offer in the entire state of Maine. You got to be kidding me. And it absolutely improves our chances. But, I mean, America deserves a lot better than this clown.
What do you say to the members on the Democratic side who they're afraid to really go after this guy? I mean, what does it take? He has a Nazi tattoo. He slammed LGBTQ. He slammed fellow veterans. He said women, essentially, if you rape, buck up. I mean, I can't almost think of a worse. He's on this app still, with young girls. I mean, there are just so many things going on, and yet they want to win in November. They keep making it clear. It's all about the Senate. It's all about November.
Well, again, their overriding passion is not the truth. It's politics and power. And we saw this, remember, last year in Virginia when they were able to get this guy in Virginia elected attorney general who talked about openly killing people and how happy he would be about it.
That's his political opponents. That was his political opponents.
Exactly. And that's just how radical the Democrat Party has become, and why we as Republicans need to stick on good policy. We'll never beat the Democrats at politics because the media is always backing them, minus your show. And we need to just tell the truth about how we're going to turn around this country. But the Democrats have lost their way, and that just shows how they're really beholden to the most radical element of their party if they're going to stand by this guy.
You know, you're in the space district. Lucky you there, Congressman. We always love having you on. There was this big Blue Origin, of course, the rocket that exploded. This is the Jeff Bezos. Tell us sort of what happened, if you know, and what does it mean to space?
Well, I literally got off an airplane, and I heard, of course, my phone was, no pun intended, blowing up at that point as well, where people said, "Did you hear what happened?" And I said, "Well, what happened?" And they told me the story. Luckily, again, no one is injured, let alone killed, thank God. But this wasn't even a rocket launch. It was just what they call a static test. And so I was with Jared Isaacman again today. He was actually in my office here in Washington. We're not exactly sure what happened yet, but it is a blow to our space industry because, as you know, Blue Origin is one of the landers that will actually put us on the moon for the first time since 1972 in 2028. Of course, SpaceX being the other. So we're working very closely with Blue Origin. We still know they're a very talented company. We need to figure out what happened. And in the meantime, we are moving forward, especially after that incredible launch that we had a couple months ago with Artemis 2 going around the moon for the first time since 1972 and further than we've ever been in space.
Yeah, go ahead, Judge Weinberg, your thoughts.
Congressman, good to talk to you again. So we're in very troubled times, and you're a very influential member of the Florida delegation. What troubles you most about what you see happening here in America?
Well, I think what's most troubling right now is just the fraud that's taking place around the country and how so many governments, whether it be state government or the previous administration who turned a blind eye to it. Every one of your listeners works incredibly hard to earn a living, and to see this money going out the back door in fraudulent methods is abysmal. And not as a Republican, but as an American, we have to do everything in our power to stop this fraud and prosecute those who would take advantage of the good nature of the American public. That's why I'm so pleased with the president, Dr. Oz, and others are doing to combat this fraud. We've got enough problems in this country. The last thing we need to see is people stealing from their own government and taking away the resources that we need on so many fronts. That should be our number one focus, taking on this fraud. And that's what we're going to attempt to do to turn around this country and instill some confidence again with people in our government, which is sorely lacking at this point.
Yeah, that is for sure. Well, you keep fighting the good fight. That's why we love you, Congressman.
Thank you very much for being
here. It's so
here.
great to have you here.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a great week.
Yeah. I think you're coming to New York, so we can't wait. Come visit us. Come visit us in studio. That'd be great.
Count on it. See you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you, Congressman. We really appreciate it. And as I said, joining us now, we have the Consul General from Israel to New York, the great Ophir Akunas. Mr. Ambassador, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And what a pivotal time
Yes.
to have you here on Katz and Cosby. Walk us through, first off, one of the things we were just talking about with the Congressman was some of these, and not from a political perspective, but just the thought, when you see these individuals, you got the Graham Plattner with the Nazi tattoo, you've got another candidate there in Michigan. There seems to be this increased anti-Semitism, which is just in general so troubling in this country. What are your thoughts?
Anti-Semitism in New York City, for sure. And unfortunately, all around the United States, it's a peak of all times. I'm sorry, but I just warned yesterday. I spoke, it was at the Jerusalem Post conference, and I asked for my American friends, who I love so much, and you all know it, that my friends, you must wake up. Something bad is happening here. I think that, by the way, not only according to the Jewish community in the United States, but against all the basic values of the United States itself. So I'm talking about the free economy, the patriotism, that this place is a huge wonder of the new era. Like, by the way, like the state of Israel, and the dirty words, the rude words, everyone is, taking his position according if he loves the president or he hates the president. And by the way, it's almost like in Israel. You need, it used to be an ideology, a left ideology, right-wing ideology, but ideas. Ideology is from the word ideas. There's no ideas anymore. There's no ideas. Everybody is using really dirty words. It's unbelievable. Against this place, I'm worried. 3 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago as well, I saw those mobs, rude and wild protesters, wave the Hezbollah flag here. Here! Why, for God's sake, why do you let them do it? Hezbollah, according to the State Department definition, is a terror organization. They killed hundreds of American soldiers. This is the freedom of speech? They are saying that they want to kill you. They are saying death to America. You better believe them, and please wake up.
Yeah, it is amazing, and I'm looking at Judge Weinberg and Craig Eaton, both attorneys here. Why we're not cracking down onto the consul's point? I mean, what are your thoughts, Judge? There are all these people that they're waving flags of Hezbollah blatantly on the streets of New York. There's something wrong, Judge.
You have a couple things going on. First of all, there's a lot of foreign money to try to break up this country and divide this country, coming in, funding political campaigns and this kind of narrative and messaging. They want division. The second thing is happening is that things like TikTok are carrying forward the messages of Iran. TikTok, so media is carrying it forth. The mass media is protecting these people. So you have a whole coalition.
Why? I want to ask you why. I'm curious to know why. By the way, not all the mass media, but maybe important parts.
A good portion,
exactly,
yes.
That's right. Why? Why they are doing it? I'm asking myself why they prefer the Ayatollahs and the Iranians, because the protest in Washington Square for the memory of Khamenei in Washington Square. Something really very, very dangerous is happening here.
Well, there's a cottage industry of these. They're being paid. So a lot of them are professional.
So follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money.
Follow the money.
Exactly.
Follow the money.
They should be cracking down. Aren't you astounded, too, that they have not? I agree that it should be easy because it looks like some of the same ones. They have the same signs.
I want to be clear. I am for the freedom of speech. Is
we all
maybe
are.
one of the most important things of every modern democracy. Of course, the will of the people, it's not less important. And the will of the people was to see President Trump in the White House again, okay, or Prime Minister Netanyahu as the Prime Minister of Israel. And if the people will choose differently, I will respect the will of the people in Israel, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, everywhere. But the will of the people is not to commit a suicide. And these people are saying to you very frankly, by the way, and they're very honest, that to you.
Right, it's
that
scary.
to America.
You had said earlier they either love or hate the president. It goes much further than that. I mean, it's a hatred. It's a hatred, a violent hatred. You want him dead. And you know what? And if you love him, you're on one end. I mean, we need to get to the middle a little bit. We need to calm the people down. We need to get rid of
lower the flames.
We need to 100%. We need to calm the rhetoric down.
Totally agree.
But what we need to do is we need to get rid of the members of Congress and the U.S. senators and the state members of the senates and assemblies who are condone this kind of activity, who actually go against the federal government. They abuse the ICE people. They let the ICE people, run out there and get hurt. They let the people attack them. We need to change the rhetoric in this country. We need to start protecting our police, and we need to get rid of the elected officials that are doing damage.
Yeah, and let's get to Israel, back to Israel, because I think about the Israel parade. I mean, our mayor, the New York City mayor,
disgraceful.
He did not march, and he said, my views are clear. Maybe just your thoughts about the parade. By the way, it was packed. It was a great success.
I think that we gave the answer to the mayor, that it was the biggest parade and the most impressive parade ever. I was here, it was 2015, 17, 18, 2022, and that was the third time as the Consul General of Israel in New York. That was, wow, a huge event. And a direct answer to Mayor Mamdani and his supporters that we are here to stay, we are strong, we are proud, we have our identity. And what was one of the main symbols of this parade? I think that the fact that we waved the Israeli flag and the American flag. Now look at the difference. Now I'm calling to all our listeners and to their friends, ask yourself a question. What's the difference between the parade, between the Israeli parade 2 days ago and the protesters around the city? They are waving all the time, by the way.
Only one flag. Only one
Hezbollah flag. Yeah. They are using the Nukhbot, the most cruelest terrorists in the world, the green bandanas. Here, I saw it in my eyes. It was 3rd and 68, I think, not very far from Park East Synagogue.
Wow.
They used those bandanas, and they used the bandanas in Washington Square, in Union Square, in front of Grand Central Station. What is it? It's not about Israel, my friends. Wake up. It's about you. They want to destroy your beautiful country. I want this place to be New York City. I want that the United States will be the United States of America and not anything else. And if you will continue, by the way, you're right. I don't want to be part of the domestic issues, but in general, if politicians, elected officials will continue to enjoy their silence in front of these wild people who are shouting death to America, they will do it. How do I know it? Because they are doing it all around. First of all, in Iran itself, you remember Tehran massacre 4 months ago?
Right.
To their own people. In Gaza, they are doing it to their own people. And I don't want to talk now about the gay community, because they're killing them. Okay? As well. And others as well. If you are not from the right family in Gaza, meaning if you are not, a Hamas supporter, they will kill you.
Right.
If you're an Arab, not a Jew, not a Christian, that's it.
Well, you know
So you need to understand it.
Yeah, they have no. Let's get to, if we can,
Yes.
to Iran too with you.
Yes.
What's the latest? Because Americans are watching and
Yes.
saying, what's the resolution?
I don't know. We need to wait to the end of the negotiations. I want that the results will be clear. And I'm counting on the American president that they will not have their nuclear weapon and that they will cannot use. Actually, they need to destroy their nuclear weapon and the uranium, and of course their intercontinental missiles. And of course their proxies as well. Not to supply to their proxies missiles or even drones anymore, like to the Hezbollah. So okay, we'll wait and see. I don't believe them.
Yeah,
I don't
think the world.
I don't
believes them,
believe
right.
that they will do it. I don't believe that they will do it. Why? Because first of all, they are very good negotiators. The Iranians, the Persians, very good negotiators.
Yeah, stall.
That's right, exactly. That's it. So I don't know what will be the results of the talks. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Let's pray for peace.
Like the president.
Right.
It's the Jewish people who brought the word peace to the world. We want peace, but we want peace with our neighbors who recognize the state of Israel as the homeland of the Jewish people. The mayor said that Israel is not the homeland of the Jewish people. He refused to say it. So that's why he, of course, boycott the parade, and I think that was the main reason that you saw the highest numbers of all time.
It was
who
great.
Came to the
It was great
to the parade.
And by the way, at the parade too, and I know you know this, Mr.
Yes.
Consul. It was everybody. It wasn't just obviously there was such huge, but it was so beautiful to see all these other groups too. African American groups, Muslim groups, even there were a few of those that came to show support.
We love them. We want to live in peace in this city, in the state of Israel, all around the world, to extend the peace treaties with our neighbors, like with Lebanon. There's no reason that Lebanon will not be part of the Abraham Accords. By the way, there is one reason: the existence of Hezbollah. That's it.
That's the occupying power. What they did is they took an independent nation state with the majority population of Christians. They exterminated the Christian population. They took it over and they made it a vehicle for terrorism. That's what Hezbollah is. They took over Lebanon.
And they fired, 2,000 rockets on Israel?
Yes.
I mean, come on.
By the way, it's not a ceasefire. It's not a real ceasefire.
Of course not.
It's not. Why? I just said 2 sentences before. Liars. They're just liars. That's it. Hezbollah, Hamas, and of course, the head of the octopus, Iran.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, I think it's as simple as this. If this regime in Iran stays in place, you're going to have continuing warfare. It'll heat up, it'll cool down, it'll heat up, it'll cool down. But they are absolutely dedicated to destruction of Western civilization. They're totally dedicated to hegemony by this extremist Islamist theology, which believes in world domination, no rights of freedom of speech, association, or thought, or religion for anybody else except for their own version of the world. And if we don't wake up, and Europe open up its doors and its gates and its borders, and it's being overwhelmed, and if America doesn't wake up, we're going to be overwhelmed as well.
Consul General.
I hope that all the Europeans, British, the Americans will wake up as soon as possible in front of the real dangerous situation that, by the way, we brought on ourselves. It wasn't it wasn't by accident. We let these people, actually invade to the Western world and to the United States, of course. And they are saying that they want to destroy us. So why do we need to be nice to them? They are not nice to us. They want to kill us. We need to stop them. The radical Islam is unfortunately a huge threat against the Western civilization. Why? Because they are saying it. They are saying it.
One of the things that's been interesting is President Trump has said...
The radical Islam.
Right.
Not the Islam. The radical Islam.
President Trump has come out, Mr. Consul General, and said, they're thinking, okay, they can keep waiting. because the midterm of elections here in America. And President Trump came out and said, well, don't worry about it. I'm not going to rush. I will only accept a good deal, to your point. They have to make sure they get the dust. They have to make sure
for a good deal, not for another one, a good one.
With verification.
Exactly.
That's the key. Go ahead, Craig.
You know, we are in very dangerous times here in the country, in the state, and in the city. We have a mayor that doesn't represent every single citizen of New York City. We have a governor that's just as bad. And if we don't get Bruce Blakeman in as our governor this year, we are in trouble. Okay. And the problem is the socialists, now that they have made inroads in New York City, they are spreading around like wildfire around this country. And you're going to see mayors sprout up all around this country that are socialists that are all going to join up with Mayor Mamdani, and they're going to work together to destroy this country, because that's what they want. They want to destroy the country as it presently exists.
And also a lot of the platform of the socialists, especially 100%. The Democratic socialists, is anti-Israel.
Just one thing to say, that Governor Hochul opened the march with Speaker Manning and others, and of course, the head of NYPD, Jessica Tisch.
Yes, exactly. Was the honorary grand marshal.
That's right.
And also the governor just passed the buffer zones around the synagogues, around the religious sites.
Yes.
That was a very important thing.
That's right. And I want to thank the elected officials who actually participate. It's not obvious. They came, and I know that Governor Hochul was there, and Bruce Blakeman was there as well, both of them. And we are very happy that both of them are big supporters of the state of Israel.
And former mayors Adams and Bloomberg were there as well.
Yes, of course.
And Julie Menner, the Speaker of the Council, was there.
You're right.
Yeah, they all came and
so
definitely
I want to
showed
thank
their
them,
support.
but especially to NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. I said it yesterday, and the Jerusalem Post conference. A lot of thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, it was beautiful too when she was asked by reporters how she feels about being
proud.
there.
Yes. She used the word proudly.
Yeah, she said, "I am a proud Jew. I am proud to be there." And I thought that sounded resounding message.
Yes.
Well, we are praying for you. We are praying
so
for
much.
peace so much. And
Thank you.
Mr. Consul General Afir Akunis, we love having you. You're welcome
anytime.
anytime.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Well, we are with you. We are with you.
I know. Thank you so much.
God bless. God bless you.
God bless you. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We're going to go to New Jersey. Big primary tonight.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC. Breaking news, WABC.
Well, tonight there are big primaries taking place across the country, including in New Jersey, and there is a big one there in District 9, which is essentially some of Passaic and Bergen counties there. And, of course, our next guest is one of the folks in the big primary, and you'll recognize her name, Tiffany Glenn Burris. She is a great attorney and also the wife of Plaxico Burris, the great NFL star. And Craig, why don't you bring her in?
Tiffany, we are honored to have you here tonight. This is a big election. You're the Republican candidate, a young Republican candidate for the 9th District, Congressional District in New Jersey. You cover, I think, Bergen, some parts of Bergen, Hudson, and Passaic counties, which includes Patterson and East Rutherford. Special thanks to Jack Manzo for connecting you with us. Tell us a little about yourself, Tiffany.
Oh, good evening, Craig and Rita and crew. Thanks for having me. I'm a workers' compensation attorney. I've been a workers' comp attorney for approximately almost 20 years now, fighting against insurance companies and bureaucracy so that families can keep a roof over their heads.
Talk about what's at stake there in New Jersey. Tiffany, I know that this particular seat, it's held by a Democrat now. She's running. It's still an incumbent that you're going up against. But it's interesting because a lot of people believe this is maybe one of the seats in New Jersey that could potentially flip from Republican to Democrat. Why it's so important, or the other way around, Democrat to Republican, rather, because it's in that. But why it could flip, to the GOP potentially, maybe with you tonight, right?
Yes. It's one of the 13 districts in the country that the president won, even though it's held by a Democrat. And it's really important because right now the current Congresswoman Nellie Poe, she has voted against anything everything that she's voted for has not helped the district. She's voted to increase the taxes. She's voted against funding for the district. She's voted to have a sanctuary city. She's voted against. She's voted to not secure the border, and the person that I'm running against right now in this primary, Rosie Pino, has voted for the exact same things that she's voted for. Rosie Pino voted to raise the taxes in Clifton, and she also voted to support the Immigrant Trust Act to make Clifton a sanctuary city.
You know, Tiffany, we looked at your positions, and you're right on point with the positions that we here believe in and fight for every day. And we want to make sure we tell the listeners, polls close at 8 p.m. tonight in New Jersey. And if you live in the 9th Congressional District, like I said before, if you live in parts of Bergen, Hudson, and Passaic, or Patterson and East Rutherford that are part of the 9th Congressional District, you got 2 hours left. Please get out and vote. This is an important race, not only for the 9th Congressional District, not only for the state of New Jersey, but the country. Make sure you make your vote count tonight.
And Tiffany, I know, like, just on your views too, obviously a big supporter of, growth, cutting taxes, support law enforcement, secure border. I mean, I'm thinking about in New Jersey, what's going on at the Newark ICE facility. And, I can't even imagine what's going on through your mind.
Oh my gosh, so much is going on through my mind. I mean, we have to set up and support our police. We have to secure the border. And the only way that can be done is if people actually get to the polls and they vote. There's 2 hours left. It's really important. It's an important race. And if you want somebody with true, real conservative values, then I'm your person.
Well, we wish you so much luck. And Tiffany Burris, we're going to be watching for you tonight. We're rooting for you tonight. By the way, your husband's a superstar. You're amazing. I was looking at your bio too. You're a superstar. He was the NFL guy. You are the great superstar there in the courtroom. So bravo. It's great to have you.
And she's a super lawyer, I saw.
Yeah, super lawyer.
So am I. I'm a super lawyer. I'm a super lawyer in New York.
I'm trying to absorb it. I'm pretending like I'm an attorney.
And Judge Weinberg is a super judge in New York.
Yeah, hey, we wish you so much luck tonight, Tiffany. Thank you so much. Congrats, and go get them. We'll be following it tonight.
Godspeed, Tiffany.
You.
Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And if anyone wants to know more about me, please go to TiffanyBurris.com.
TiffanyBurris.com. Thank you, Tiffany, so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. And you guys, what do we all stand for?
Truth, justice, and the American way.
And tune in tonight. We got the primary results.
Thanks for listening to Katz and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. You can hear Katz and Cosby weekdays at 5. It's the 5 o'clock show on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.